Depth of Winter just landed, and with it comes the new infantry and the overall new epic heroes as well. So, in today's video, we're going to be reviewing both Mogro and Danfil kits, giving you your thoughts if they're worth maxing, what their perfect position is, and we're going to be taking a look at the new epic heroes as well. What's up guys, Meower here back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. So Danfil and Mogro just got revealed today. We got their full skills, their full skill sets, what they're good at, what they excel at, what they don't excel at. So without further introductions, be sure to drop the like, don't forget to subscribe as we're going to be pumping out guides for both of them, giving you the best case, the worst case scenarios, reviewing the new artifact as well, because I think it has a lot of potential as a really strong artifact, and let's just dive in. So, starting off, we're going to be taking a look at Danfil because I think he's the more interesting one of the new pair. I think he's pretty strong overall. Of course, if you want to check him out, you have to go through the emojis the same way that we did checking out Margaret Zeta when they were first revealed. So, Danfil's rage skill is called Shield Strike. It's a pretty strong and pretty straightforward skill. It has a damage factor of up to 1600, insanely high, and a shield factor of up to 600, which is pretty decent. So far, so good. Pretty straightforward. No mechanics or gimmicks here at all. Next up, one of the more interesting skills that he has is called Greymore's Aegis. So, Danfil while in the field, the Legion and friendly legions behind it gain mercy for 3 seconds every 10 seconds. So Danfil himself gets mercy. Mercy is a buff that grants other legions reduced range damage taken. So as long as he's in the field, he keeps getting it, whether if it's in combat or not in combat. And the legions, for them to be behind it, it's going to be the same principle as Urak's skill, I believe, or it was Tobin, that you have to be slightly behind him in order to get the buff. It is up to three. It is two legions, I think, or three legions total. I'm not sure if it's total or him plus three or him plus two. We'll have to wait till he comes out once the new season begins so that we can test him and show the actual usage of the skill. Overall, it's a pretty good skill. I like it. I like its idea. So far, he's got a pretty decent kit. The next skill is pretty straightforward, just a stat stick. Increase defense, increase HP, 10%, 20%. Pretty good, pretty decent. And his last skill, I think, is the most interesting one. And it reads, when the Legion casts Shield Strike, which is his rage skill, the target legion that receives the damage gets slowed, and they also take increased damage from this legion. So they get slowed by 20%, and they get an extra 20% damage taken bonus for 6 seconds. Now, that this does not carry over to other rage cycles unless you are bombarded by ranged damage, so that your generation acceleration kicks in. So overall, a pretty good skill in my opinion. I think this is one of his better skills in his kits. To be honest, it's one of the better skills in the game in general, actually. So no further comments on other than it is pretty solid. And his awakening skill is that when dealing damage to a legion affected by Halfling Party Fury, which is his fourth skill, adds 1 second to the duration of deliberation and slow. This effect can be triggered once every 2 seconds. So this increases the slow from 6 seconds to 7. So this can guarantee an almost permanent uptime on the slow and increased damage reduction when you are in combat. So all in all, pretty strong overall kit. However, does he dethrone Koresh or Skogul? No, he does not. He does not have the same survivability they do. He's a decent damage. I think he's like a hybrid between a tank and a damage dealing infantry, but just can't find his footing. But is if you're gonna ask me if he's worth maxing, I think he is. He is, of course, the lucky spin hero. A bit of a high investment commander, but is the investment gonna be worth it or not? We'll have to wait and see next season. Next up, we're gonna be checking out on Mogro. Mogro, yes, Mogro. The discount, uh, the upgraded visual of Garwood and the discount Maokai is in the game now. Let's take a look at his kit. This is, of course, the SLE hero. He has skill, infantry setup, so I'm thinking, judging by what we've seen from Danville, I think this guy will be the primary in the march. So, first of all, he has his rage skill is pretty interesting, and it's pretty hybrid unique. I would say it's a bit of like a hybrid of Skogels and as well as a Bruise Uke. So it reads as follows: he gains Ashes of Rage, grants Lash Out for 3 seconds. Lash Out is a self buff. Lash Out deals diffused physical skill damage every second to the target and to surrounding enemy legions. The damage factor can scale up to 450, but the strongest part of it is that it has an AoE 30% HP reduction. That is insane. That is insane. This part alone makes this commander pretty solid and pretty strong overall. If he didn't have this and had any other type of reduction, he would be absolute garbage. But minus 30% HP on 3 targets is huge. His second skill is that when the Legion inflicts a debuff upon a target via an innate skill, which is, of course, what? The 5 fixed skills that heroes start out. So debuff, so any of your 5 skills do any sort of debuff, that effect is also transmitted up to 2 surrounding targets. Targets are also prioritized for lash out in the future effective transmission. What? Hero skill damage dealt to debuff targets 5 up to 15%. What? Wait, what? Am I reading this right? What the what the wait, this is broken. What am I looking at here? This is broken. When inflicted debuff upon a target with an innate skill, the effect is also transmitted up to 2 surrounding targets. Targets are prioritized for lash out and future effective transmission. Hero skill damage dealt to the debuff targets plus 15. Is this a universal buff or is this a self buff though? If this is a universal buff, then this guy's cracked. But you can have a permanent uptime of extra 15%. Who needs in this if you have this guy? What the fuck? Okay, moving on. His third skill is normal stat stick, attack and defense. Wait, the skill is disgusting. What am I looking at here? Oh, okay, moving on. His last skill is the garrison. When garrisoning a city or stronghold, Legion has a 10% chance to increase damage dealt by 4 seconds and bypass 4% of the enemy HP for 3 seconds after entering battle. Right, so does this only happen once you enter battle? Or does this kind of refresh? Oh yeah, after entering battle, so this has a 10% chance to proc every time. If it occurs more than once, it refreshes the duration, pretty much. Okay. And lastly, when dealing damage to branded enemy legion, deals an additional physical steel damage 200. This effect can be triggered once every 5 seconds. Okay. So Mogro, his first 2 skills super solid. His last 3 skills are meh. So I'm thinking he could be a huge contender to 5511 or 5551. Pretty low investment entry for this commander. The skill is on steroids. Just steroids pretty much. I have nothing else to say except this is disgusting. However, I still think they don't dethrone Goroskogel. However, I think they are more versatile than Goroskogel in terms of their pairings. They can work with each other. They can work with other infantry commanders. Overall, I like them. I think they're okay. They're breath of fresh air. They're not an Instamax and they're not a meta changer in the open field. I don't think they're gonna be super strong rally unless very situational. I do think their job in the open field will be to shred other infantry, but when dealing with range marches, they'll be meh. They'll be pretty meh. I don't think they'll have that much survivability due to the lack of counterattack, so it won't be as painful to shred them, unlike Goroskogel, who have in their kit the ability to reach up to 100% plus counterattack. So, my thoughts on them so far till we test them: I think they're good, they're decent, but they are not game changers. Danfil is definitely worth awakening if you want to. His last skill is probably his best skill, and so is his rage skill. Mogro, his best skills are his rage and his secondary skill. So these are my thoughts for them both. Let's check out the two new epics. So we got Tara here, the Vestal mage, pretty much that escaped the academy. She is an overall gather and support. Healing devotion heals the Legion lightly wounded units and grants Legion synergy until Legion casts a rage skill. Pretty decent. It's like Thea, but she heals instead. And then while in battle, the Legion and force surrounding enemy legions gain keen and resistance. I love this skill. The skill is pretty amazing. The skill is pretty much like a Heart of Kamasi, but AoE and with a 5 second downtime instead of a 1 minute and a half. So I like this skill a lot. The skill is pretty good. Next up, we have Gatherer and Provider, a pretty straightforward gathering skill. Of course, Tara and Naren, which we checked out in the previous video, are both gold key commanders. Her last skill is pretty much a stat stick, pretty okay, I guess. And her awaken skill increases the healing she gains by 100. So, all in all, pretty decent. Like, I don't think she's worth picking up and using out in the field unless for like an extra utility fifth march to buff your allies, especially because next season we might have a return of seasonal talents. So, you know that what that means. It's gotta be long range warfare time, baby. Let's go! And finally, Nayrin, which we checked out, so we're going to glance over again. She deals diffuse damage to the surrounding targets and surrounding legions by up to, 600, that's diffused, and then three targets get 15% less healing. Honestly, I think Nayrin would be pretty good with Mogro because both of them have debuffs and both of them are pretty solid with each other. I think both Nayrin and Mogro would be pretty good together as like a utility debuffing infantry march. Of course, it's not going to survive, but I still think they might have synergy together to just, render some marches effectively useless by shredding their HP, putting a silence on them, shredding their healing, making them get extra damage. Like, we have to test them out, to be honest. But that's it for today's video while reviewing the commanders. I think, all in all, nothing too meta breaking will occur, and it's a breath of fresh air, honestly, because I don't like the idea of every single time of us having new commanders. That means they pretty much dominate the meta. Max 8, uh, Chorus Gogo, all that type. So, all in all, I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing. But of course, I will update you guys as soon as we enter the new season and we're able to test them out. But till then, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please be sure to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more guides and discussions about everything that's game because the next video will definitely be discussing the brand new Moon Bear. Meow meow. If you enjoyed this video, click here to watch the next video. Oh, meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow.